Hey guys, Dr. Andy here. Today I want to talk about golfer's elbow. Okay, golfer's elbow is a repetitive stress injury that we get on the inside of the elbow. So a lot of times we're going to have pain along the inside of the elbow and then down into the front of the forearm. Okay, where this comes from, or this type of injury, is actually a repetitive stress injury of wrist flexion. Okay, so flexion is when we bring our hand or our wrist, we bend the wrist and bring our hand closer to our face like this. This is wrist flexion, all right? And we do that through what we call the wrist flexors. These muscles right through here, and all of these muscles through the wrist flexors, they all come up and they kind of cross over and then attach to the middle part of the elbow, or what we call the medial aspect of the elbow. So all of these muscles with constant repetitive wrist flexion. Maybe you're a desk worker and you're typing away on your keys, so it's not just a golfer. It's not just a golfer kind of going through repetitive wrist flexion. It can also be a desk worker. It could be you get it from the gym. Any kind of overuse injury, meaning you're doing too much of wrist flexion with not enough rest and recovery in between, you can develop this injury. And it's through these muscle bellies and then through into the tendon where it attaches to bone on the inside of the elbow, okay? So one of the most common techniques that we do in the office to help this type of pain is Graston technique, okay? Graston technique is an instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization technique, which is a fancy way of saying that we use a tool or an instrument to help us do our job. And in this case, this is a soft tissue injury, so we are going to use our muscle or tendon injury, so we're going to use these tools to get in there and help heal these muscles and these tendons so that we decrease pain and increase resilience for you, right? Okay, so first things that we have to do is we have to put down our Graston gel. It is an emollient, so it's mostly actually beeswax. And what this allows the instruments to do is to glide smoothly over the skin, one, so it's easier to do the technique, and secondly, it is a lot more comfortable for the patient. So if you're just taking a metal tool, go home and take a spoon, right, and just start going over your arm, it's gonna hurt, right? Unless you lay down something like this. At home, I've seen people use like lotions or something like that, but the actual Graston technique gel, the Graston emollient, it works really, really well, okay? So first thing that we do is we take one of our bigger tools. In the instrument set, we got a bunch of different tools, but we start with the bigger ones, and we actually use this almost more as like a scanning tool, right? It's actually part diagnosis. So we can actually go through the muscle bellies, and it should feel mostly smooth, and then we're gonna find a couple of places like right there, where it feels like it's really rough underneath. I can actually tell through the instrument the texture of the muscle underneath that skin, and notice that it feels like instead of nice and smooth, it's like I'm going over some sandpaper right underneath the skin, and that tells me right underneath there we've got some muscle adhesions, some muscle spasms that we need to work on. Remember, it's not just the elbow that's part of the problem, it is all of these wrist flexor muscles as well. So we start in the muscle bellies, and then we go up into that elbow. A little tender there? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we can actually feel the texture underneath that it's a little gritty. Now we want to break that up. So after we find all of those little areas that we want to work on, we take some of the smaller instruments and then we start to dig in there. And we do star patterns, right? So it's not just one direction. We actually start to hit it from a bunch of different directions. We're trying to break things up. We are trying to increase blood flow to this area. Anytime that you have a repetitive stress injury, like golfer's elbow, it means that there's a loss of blood flow to this area and a loss of oxygen. So anything that you can do to increase blood flow, increase oxygen, is going to really help this area decrease in pain and heal a lot faster. So that's what we're doing with the tool. We are increasing blood flow, increasing some oxygen. We're also helping these little tiny cells called fibroblasts release a lot of things like collagen and growth hormone to speed up the healing process, okay? So we get in, we found those areas earlier that we want to work on. And normally this technique might take about 5 minutes. I'm just showing you the quick and dirty. So we're going to hit it from multiple angles, almost like a star pattern. All the different little angles. We get in there. Right now it's not showing you very much, but eventually this does turn nice bright red. Don't be alarmed if you have this done on you. We don't want it purple, we don't want any bruising, but it does get red just from simple increase of blood flow and from the friction of it. And then we find all of the other little areas and we just get in there and break it all up. And what I've noticed, and then we get into that elbow, and what I've noticed is, at least on me, I mean every patient is different, but when I'm the patient, Graston technique can be like a little uncomfortable in the legs where things are super sore. But I've noticed that once you hit like the waist on up, it doesn't really hurt as much. Actually, it kind of feels good. So if you do like my back, my shoulders, my neck, my arms, it feels kind of good. Do my quads and I'm probably going to scream. Yep. So you basically track it from tendon all the way through the muscle belly and you break up all of these areas, increase in blood flow to this area. It's going to really help heal the area a lot faster and it's going to decrease the pain, right? That's what we do for golfer's elbow or pain along the inside of the elbow here in the office. If you have any questions, let us know. And always remember to live with passion, not pain.